And then the next thing we know, there's a single out called Sweetness that just blew up. And every girl wanted to be Michelle, and well, let's not talk about what the guys wanted. Sweetness. Tell us about that. Was then. Tell us about Sweetness.
Sweetness. So before that, while I was still on EastEnders, we did this like test a single because my record company were like, you're on the soap, we've got to see how it goes. So I'd done this single called Looking Up, which was actually my first single, and that did really well. And they felt that, okay, you're bringing a lot more to the table than we thought. We can see that you take music seriously. So then they sent me to, they said, okay, we'll sign you for an album. And they sent me to San Francisco to work with Narada Michael Walden, who's like a legend. Nice.
And he had done R&B royalty right there.
Smile. Yeah. He's worked with Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. So, and then, so I remember him taking us on this drive and just playing these songs that I might like and thinking, my A&R man was with me and we're trying to find a song that I might want to sing that he'd already pre-written.
Okay.
And every time they played a song, he'd go, no, no, no. And then Sweetness came on and he went to forward it because I'd been saying no to everything and I went, no, stop there. And I just said, I love this song. And I remember him being quite surprised, like, really? This is the one? Like, you said no to all the others? And I was like, yeah, this is the one. And I suppose I must have felt something, an affinity to it. It's like some kind of draw to it. And even my A&R man was surprised. It wasn't something that they would have picked for me necessarily. And they didn't think I'd like it. But I loved it. And this is the one I want to do. And we recorded it. There was something about that song, whether it was the rhythm, the sound, everything together, that just felt like magical to me. And I wanted to do it. I just wanted to be a part of it. And recording that song was a dream, actually. Narada was really, could see how much I loved it and how much I put into it. And and
you owned it. It was it was a hit. You could tell that you had just owned this song and just said, this is me. And that came across.
Which is weird because I hadn't written it, but that's literally how I felt when I heard it. That it was a part of me. And that's what Narada felt when I sang it as well. He could just see how much I enjoyed it and became a part of that record. And it's just amazing, isn't it, that kind of energy can somehow come across to you through a radio or through a TV screen, on a video, you know, that you could feel the investment. Because it's investing your soul in a record, I think, that helps it transcend just yourself. And I was really invested in it.
Wow. I watched it the other day and it's still got it. So hey, well done.
So Michelle, we've had Grange Hill and then EastEnders. We've had the massive success in terms of Sweetness and Colin's in the shed tonight. And and now you're Hermione Granger. How is that? Because you know we've seen the female and black bond and all of the discussion around that, and you know, representation, and so tell us about that.
Yeah, it's really important for black women to be given seminal and pivotal roles, and because of the history of writing things like classics and huge blockbusters, that historic blockbusters, the problem is that they were written in a time where it wasn't felt that a black person could be front and center, and certainly not a black woman. And I think anyone who, like SFP, the production company, go, actually, would like to give this opportunity to a black woman, that the people like that are to be applauded, because what they're saying is, we know you can play the role, but they just haven't been written for you specifically. So what we'll do is we'll say, we know you can play it. to just play it, because you're not going to be able to retrospectively write Hermione Granger as a specifically a West Indian woman, you know, but there's enough there for us to say this is a description of Hermione, and we think a Black woman can play that 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's what they ran with, and it's been a joy to do. I did Beauty and the Beast 22, 23 years ago now, when I was the first British Black Belle. And that was a completely different experience, and it was really hard. It's really tough, because I wasn't just a Black female playing the part. They felt I wasn't theatre because I was a, you know, singer or a TV actress. So there were all these different barriers that I had to kind of push through, and it was quite a hard time. I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have, whereas this time round I'm really enjoying playing Hermione. I feel very supported. I know that there will be people who think, oh well, Hermione wasn't Black. I don't care. I really don't care. I really don't care. I feel like of all the parts I've probably played, characteristically wise, I'm probably more connected to Hermione definitely as connected to Hermione as I was to Fiona Wilson. And so therefore I just lean into that, and I just lean into the things that bring us together and as a human being, and run with that. And it's been a joy to play, to be honest.
Yeah, brilliant. So you've definitely got some depth and breadth of experience, because as Judy said, you know, TV actress, singer, stage actress, of course the important stuff in life, like mother to you know, 2 boys, 3 boys, but you still found time to become an author. You know, you authored a book called Pride and Premiership. Tell us, how did that come about, and you know, what was that? Tell us about the book.
It's so weird, right? Because some things are just inherent in you. So when I said to you, I was at school and I was moved up a year, and they always said I was quite academic. The thing I used to always do is write. So if the teacher used to say you need to write a story 3 pages, I'd come back with 13. Just which makes you sound like a real nerd, but like literally that's what I would do. But I've got a 13-page story. So writing was always something that I did, from that to writing poetry to writing songs. And what had happened is I had done a TV festival at Edinburgh, and that year they were talking about celebrity, and a psychologist on the board for schools had said that year over 60% of girls at school had said in their careers advice meeting that they wanted to be a WAG, which is a wife or girlfriend of a footballer. And everyone gasped, you know, like horrified, including me. But then I quickly changed that, because I was married to a footballer at the time. And I just thought, hang on a minute, why? What are they getting about? What is it about that they think that's the way to go? And I quickly switched it from being against them to kind of being in their shoes and thinking, I want to write a book, but from that point of view. So you totally understand why somebody would want to do that. But I wanted them to know the pitfalls and the benefits of having their own life, being capable of earning their own money. So kind of giving them the message of, you know, really the best thing you can do is to empower yourself, to be able to look after yourself and earn money for yourself. And if a footballer comes along, he'll just respect you for that. You know? So it's just much more of me kind of embracing them, but being able to push them along into knowing that they could do things for themselves and not rely on the guy. And it became, so Pride and Premiership was signed as a 1-book deal, and then it very quickly became 3 books and became a 3-book series about these 2 sisters. Once I looked at it, I looked at the parallels of Pride and Prejudice and the Bennet sisters and the mum trying to marry off these girls, and you realise that this isn't new. You know, this is
the same story.
This is a theme and a story that's been replicated across all cultures, all classes. And so I leaned into, I called them Bennett, so it's Malibu Bennett and Remy Bennett, and I just leaned into that whole concept of, so people realize, actually, this isn't new. This is something that girls have been fed for centuries, and we just ran with it. And it went really well. I did some workshops in some state secondary schools, and that's actually what got me the book deal, because I'd written a lot of the book before I got a deal. But I went into workshops with state schools and with the reading agency, and they in fact phoned publishers up and said, you've got to sign this book, because the way the kids are reacting to it is so fantastic. So sometimes you just got to do things, haven't you? And the universe turns, as I say, in your favor.
Fantastic.
Michelle, you're saying you just got to do things. You do so much.
You do.
And Colin touched on being a mother as well. How do you juggle all of that? What's that experience like?
Juggling is the hardest bit. So lucky. My parents help me all the time. My mum and my dad are just the best. So if I know I've got to do a job that's going to take me away or take up a lot of my hours, I phone them and I say, shall I say yes or no to this job? But you got to bear in mind that they're the people that invested in me, right? So they're the people that took their hard-earned money and sent me to stage school. They want this for me as much as I want it for me. If not maybe more, if not even maybe more. So they tend to just go, take the job, we'll help you. So you're always indebted to your parents anyway, but I'm always indebted to my parents. Like, always reminded of, the work that they've done and the work they're still doing to help me survive this industry.
Big up to mum and dad, Gayle, and thank you very much for investing in and blessing us with the talent that is Michelle Gayle.
Thank you.